and welcome to the Addiction and Mental Health Show. And we're real pleased to have as our guest today, Tommy Guerra of F Fentanyl. Yeah. Welcome, Tommy.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
It is good to be here. So let's start with like the basic stuff.
Sure.
What is the vision of F Fentanyl?
Well, F Fentanyl is a fairly new nonprofit, started last year about May, and our focus is harm reduction, right? Our mission is really to save lives.
Save lives.
Save lives, 100%, yeah. And so we do that through harm reduction. And so we know that not everybody is going to stop using substances, whether they have a substance use disorder or they're trying for the first time. They're at risk because of such the dangers of fentanyl and other drugs that are being laced into the drug supply. And so the goal is to save their life prior to them having any chance of recovery. They got to be alive. And so that's what our goal is.
So let's stop there. And by the way, that's a lofty goal, saving lives. I don't want to minimize that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like something you write in your English paper. Saving lives is saving lives. And I'm sure anecdotally we have examples of where lives have been saved.
Sure.
Before we do that, I want to mention our sponsor today. We're real grateful for the Alliance. And I think that's going to scroll it's actually Miami-Dade Behavioral Health Alliance, and info at mdbha.org. This is an organization right now of about 300. They're only about a year old, of all kinds of recovery and mental health companies, businesses, profit and not for profit. They have a monthly meet and greet in Wynwood, and a very powerful WhatsApp chat. So they're saving lives too.
Absolutely.
And we're glad that they're sponsoring us. And you can look on the website and find a prior show that they actually were the guest and the sponsor. And thumbs up to the Alliance. We appreciate your sponsorship. And you're a member of the Alliance, yes?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been to a number of the different meetings that they have. And the great thing about them is that you can connect with so many different types of professionals that may work in maybe a similar field, but not the same focus. Right, where some people focus on mental health, maybe ADHD, maybe autism, and maybe substance use disorder. And so if you can't help one person, you can refer them to somebody in the Alliance.
So it's a connection of resources.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know they have an event coming up February 9th. If you're interested, get hold of, send them a note in the email, and they'll provide you all the information. And watch the prior show, because we're all trying to save lives. And a couple of weeks ago, they were in, 6 of them in. We're in here out of 8. And each one of them were like you, Tommy. They're walking angels. I know that sounds corny, but saving lives, you got to be a walking angel.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
Your history, you went to FIU. You're a Panther?
Yeah. Two-time alumni, yeah. Two-time alumni. Yeah.
Two-time alumni. Why is that?
I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree from FIU.
And somewhere in your experience with FIU, you had a substance abuse.
Yeah, well, I've had a substance use issue since I was about 15 years old. And while I was at FIU, I was actually in recovery when I started. But along the way, I had a little bump in the road, and I relapsed after having 3 years. And
so there you are at FIU, having relapsed, hurting real bad inside, and you went to the administration and asked what resources they had to help recovery and mental health. Yes?
Not necessarily the administration. I went to the counseling office, and it was a period where I had about 3-4 weeks sober, and I was trying to look for some type of connection and support.
Did you find it there?
Not at that moment, no.
So then you graduated, you got it together, and now it's time to do a master's project.
Correct. You know this story better than I do.
You know what? I was taught by my boss, Grant Miller, don't ask a question you don't know the answer to. So that's what we're doing here. Let's make it real easy for me.
Yeah, no.
But so as I understood it, the professor came into the class and said, your master's project should be something that benefits Florida International University.
Sure. Yes.
And you went, ding, a light goes off, and tell the story.
It was just, I wanted to start a meeting on campus was really the main idea. And then it kind of evolved into a full student organization.
Called what?
Panthers for Recovery.
And that exists today?
It is in the works right now. They're trying to make it into a program. But it's taken a little bit longer than we all expected. But it is a part of the university. They own the name Panthers for Recovery. Yes.
And so then after you graduated, you started another organization that you're no longer part of. Yes.
Right. Well, prior to that, I worked as a therapist, so I was able to get my master's degree. And
so you have initials after your name?
Yeah, MS. And then I'm a registered mental health intern, since I didn't really pursue that career per se, because I went a different route. But I did work as a therapist at South Miami Recovery, which is a outpatient treatment center not too far from here. We focus on IOP and intensive IOP, outpatient. And it was a great learning experience. And I was able to honestly, every time I would work there, I would be like, I'm actually getting paid to do something I would do for free, because I'm sitting in a group of people just like me.
Isn't that what we all kind of a goal of most of us is to get paid for pursuing your passion?
Yeah, well, you follow the passion, and money will eventually come, and that's kind of what happened. And it's not like I'm a millionaire making tons of money, but I'm able to do something I love and not worry about, when the next check's going to come. And
so if somebody does want to contribute to F Fentanyl, you're a 501c3 and not for profit.
That's how we.
They could get in touch with Tommy.
Yeah, I think they're going to scroll my email across the bottom.
There it is.
Right, and then you could email us for anything, whether you want a training from us, you want to donate to us, or you want Narcan. We can help with all of that.
And we're going to get into each one of those. So you have the name F Fentanyl. We know what the F stands for, the first F.
Right.
But the bad word isn't that first F. We're not going to say it today. We're going to meet guidelines.
Yeah.
But the real bad word is the second.
The second word
Tell
is
us about
fentanyl is really the one that has causing the biggest impact on overdoses. And I would like to say it's poisoning, not really overdose, because most of the times that people are passing away, they did not know that fentanyl was laced into the substance they're taking, whether it is a pressed pill, a fake pill, or a powder like cocaine, or everything's being laced with fentanyl.
So when would a person, because there's going to be some non-addicts or people that maybe aren't in the mental health arena, or maybe they are, but they don't quite get it. So we're going to help them get it now. So if you're a heroin dealer and you got some crummy, stand away from all bad words, some really not very wonderful heroin, and you want to peddle it on the streets, and there's a lot of people doing that even as we speak, if you lace it with fentanyl, it becomes much more valuable, yes?
You have more reach. So it's really about, a smaller amount has more reach, so you have more profits, right? And
it's also stronger.
Yeah,
this is some good. Yes, this is some good stuff. Yes.
Well, the problem is if you're an opioid user, right? You probably can transition to using fentanyl, and I don't want to say you're not at risk. You're less at risk than somebody that had it laced into the substance. So it's people that use opioids usually transition from heroin into fentanyl, and they've built up a tolerance for that. And so that's, you see some people that are seeking out fentanyl.
Do you have any statistics you can give us about deaths and what's going on with fentanyl?
Yeah. So in the United States, upwards of 112,000 people have died from overdose, with primarily that being from fentanyl, right? About 75% of that is synthetic opioids and fentanyl, right? And that's the most it's ever been in the history of the United States. More than car crashes, more than gun violence. It's the biggest killer of people between 18 and 45 in the United States, number one.
Say that again slowly.
The biggest killer, 18 to 45-year-olds, right? Number one, right? More than anything else.
I'm going to kind of drop the naive part here a little bit because, yeah, I'm in recovery, you're in recovery. But I know a lot of people that maybe don't suffer from mental health issues or addiction issues that they took someone in their family or a friend took an fentanyl pill, and died.
Yeah, and so that's the scariest part.
It's touched every life.
Right. It's not just people that have a severe problem with drugs. It's kids that are trying for the first time, kids that are not aware of the dangers, kids that think this is a pill of something.
So casual
that is not as
drug
dangerous.
using has a whole new danger today.
Yes. Yes.
Just like 30 years ago, casual sex went from, I'll give you a shot of penicillin, to HIV, which is chronic and forever.
And that's a great example. A great example of harm reduction, right? When that came about, when STDs and HIV, right? Condoms were pushed into the market, right? And it was a way to prevent spreading STDs, right? It was a way to prevent unwanted pregnancies, right? But some people that didn't understand it were saying, "Hey, you guys are encouraging these young people to have sex." Well, the problem, they're having it anyway, right? It's just keeping them safe.
It doesn't contribute to deviant behavior.
No, it's gonna be, the world's gonna be the world, right? It's gonna be the same way.
People have been having sex for a long time. People have been using drugs for a long time.
Exactly. So that's the same, logic behind it. Harm reduction, right? People are gonna use drugs. Not everybody's gonna stop at the same time. Not everybody. And we've been trying for years, right? The war on drugs, DARE, all these different programs trying to get people not to use drugs. People are gonna use drugs, right? So how do we limit the dangers of that?
We're both people of faith, you and me.
Sure.
And a little bit different, but it's the same stuff. And I know from my Bible that Noah got drunk, after the ark landed and everything else, and he got drunk and he ran into major problems.
Yeah.
So we have early instances of it's a blessing and it's a curse.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's so many different things that they're good in small amounts, but when it becomes using more, or even like with social media, right? It's a good thing to a certain point, but if you're on the phone all day,
right,
it's taken away from your family, it's taken away from your responsibilities, and that's what can happen with drug use. And I don't want to say that everybody that uses drugs is going to develop a substance use disorder, because that's definitely not the case. There's a small portion of people that develop a substance use disorder, like myself, maybe like.
And there's some people that casually go to use a drug and die.
Exactly. There's people that don't have a problem; they just happen to take that pill or bump of powder that happen to have a small amount of fentanyl, which 2 milligrams is enough to kill somebody, right? Which is
so. Let's talk about some of the things that F Fentanyl and that you and your volunteers are doing.
Sure.
Where I want to start, by the way, one of the things I know that you've been doing is bringing clothes actually to the homeless over by Jackson.
Yeah, that's one of the things we do is street outreach, and we go to Overtown on a regular basis. Our main goal is just to meet people where they're at. We do give clothes, we do give snacks and beverages.
If somebody wants to donate clothes, maybe I'm opening up a can of worms here, but would you accept clothes?
Yeah, sure.
If they want to clean out their closet and give clothes?
Primarily, no winter clothes, more like men's t-shirts and shoes and socks. Those are the main things, and hygiene products is what
hygiene products.
And then
you go down how often to?
Well, we do a different location every other week. So we do Overtown, we do Miami Beach. We're going to pick up on in the South Miami, South Dade area, and so.
So if something, I'm used to like giving to organizations and then they resell them or they do whatever.
No, we're not.
This is where they're at. This is giving to the homeless that need to. They're going to put those clothes on right when you give it to them.
Yeah, I've done that so many times where we go. I give some of my old stuff.
There you go. They're scrolling there.
Yeah, that's my information.
You're going to get more. Hopefully more.
Well,
clothes.
hopefully
what else? Toiletries.
Hopefully some volunteers as well.
And volunteers.
We also give one of the most important things is we give out harm reduction tools like Narcan and test strips and condoms. We give that out to them, and we don't charge for anything. We give everything for free.
So let's talk about Narcan.
Sure.
Tell us about how Narcan works and do a little demo for us, please.
Sure. So let me put this to the side. So Narcan, right? This is a box right here. It comes with 2 doses. The one that they sell in the store, it looks exactly the same. It's basically the same. 2 doses per box.
So if they go in the store, if they go in Publix, I know my Publix is selling it for $50 for 2 doses.
Correct.
How much are you selling it for, Tommy?
Well, we give it for free. We give it for free. Luckily, we have a program. It's called iSaveFL.
What is it called?
iSaveFL. If you go to isavefl.com, you can actually find the nearest distributor of Narcan for free. You plug in your zip code, and they'll show you any place in.
Should every business have Narcan?
Absolutely.
Should everybody that has parties and clubs?
Everybody should have Narcan. Anybody
We don't know when somebody's going to walk in and
not at
overdose.
all. So anybody if you have a first aid kit, if you have a fire extinguisher, you're hoping that you don't need to use it. You're hoping that you don't have to.
So the fear is,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, what if some little kid gets hold of the Narcan? Won't they have a problem?
Well, there's no side effect if there's no overdose. So it's not going to
So a
cause
little
more
kid
damage.
can use it like Afrin and nothing bad happens.
Well, I would hope they wouldn't play around with it, but if they did, it wouldn't have an effect on them.
We're starting to put it in schools also,
Right.
yes?
Well, the nurse's office that are having them, we want to give it on a bigger base where students can actually get
If
that.
you're an organization, an employer, a group,
Mm-hmm.
and you want Narcan at your facility, you can contact Tommy, and that's
Correct.
scrolled, and it'll scroll
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yeah, we will. So we, along with that street outreach, we do trainings, right? So we do regular trainings.
Who do you train?
Anybody that will have us, right? So we do. We have
So if somebody here wants a training, then get hold of you?
absolutely.
There's a lot of reasons to contact you, Thomas Guerra, isn't there?
Absolutely. And so we're doing trainings at the public libraries. The next one that we have up is the Naranja Public Library on February 22nd at 6 p.m.
See, as a gringo, I call it Naranja, but
Naranja.
when is that again? Slowly?
February 22nd at 6 p.m., which is, I believe, is a Thursday.
So if you live in South Dade and you're interested, you can contact Tommy again.
It's absolutely free. You can get free Narcan. You'll be able to get free test strips.
Could you show us what a Narcan looks like?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that we don't.
So, right here, each dose. Where am I looking here? That right here. Okay, and so
There you are.
right there, 2 of these are in each box, and it's very easy to take out.
And how does it work?
Right, it's a spray, and you're pressing the plunger right here. Right,
Is it 1 or 2 plunges, or what is it?
It's 1 dose in each. So once you press it,
It's gone.
it's been used.
So you only use one nose, one nostril.
It doesn't matter which side you put
pick
it
a
in.
side.
Yeah, and so
And what happens when you're doing that? Somebody just look like they just passed out in front of you, look like they're dead.
right.
You
well,
do a dose.
Well, let me bring my
Oh,
buddy
okay.
over
We
here.
have props here.
I got my buddy over
This
here.
is Thomas Guerra Show and Tell.
There we go.
There's your buddy. Does
Right,
he have a
and
name?
so we want to check for responsiveness. Really, his name I gave his name is Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
Okay.
Baba Booey.
So we're checking for responsiveness. We're really, when somebody's overdosed, they're not responsive. That's the biggest telltale. You're also checking their lips, their nails. Right. If it's a lighter complexion like our friend here, it's going to be blue lips and nails. Right. If it's a darker complexion, it'll be like a grayish, purplish color. Right. And that's from lack of oxygen to the brain. Right. You're going to check. You can do a pain stimulus, and you can do make a fist, rub really hard right here. And if they don't respond to that, it's likely going to be an overdose. Another good way is the trapezius muscle, which is right here in the shoulder area, and squeezing very hard. If they don't respond to that, it's likely an overdose. You can check their eyes for pinpoint pupils, shining a light and taking it out. The pupils are going to be the same size, right? And so these are, and then the other thing is that they're either not breathing, or they're breathing very slowly. Sometimes it sounds like they're snoring, right, or gurgling, right? That's called the death rattle, right? So all those together are signs of overdose.
How long do you have?
You want to call 911 immediately, and if you have Narcan, you want to give that to
How
them.
long? What's the window of giving it to them after they drop in front of you unresponsive, or you find them unresponsive?
Well, it's going to be a short amount of time because their lack of oxygen. It's like if somebody's drowning, somebody's drowning, right, and the lack of oxygen, if they don't die, it can still cause brain damage, right? So you want to act immediately. Give the Narcan immediately. His nostrils are a little smaller than the average person, but you're gonna put the nozzle all the way in his nose, and then you're gonna press the plunger right there, And so that's what's going inside his system. When that happens, the Narcan is blocking the opioids in the system. But it only lasts for 30 to 90 minutes.
So they go from being
that being said-
non-responsive to like waking up wanting their next fix. That
Well,
fast.
they're going to be in withdrawal, right? They're going to be in
They
withdrawal.
may be a bit angry and a bit unhappy. Yes.
They're going to be alive, right? So
Alive.
they're going to be alive. They may be
So you got to
confused.
get 911 quickly and
Mm-hmm.
get them over there because you only have that 30 minutes.
Exactly. So that's the most important thing that I stress is that Narcan is not a replacement for 911. It's to buy time so 911 can get there and actually save their life. You save their life, you're giving them 30 to 90 minutes to block off the opioids. Have time for the 911 to get there.
Anybody that's listening and think, well, maybe my organization should carry Narcan, you should. Get hold of Tommy and get Narcan, get a training.
We'll do a
and
full training. Yeah.
Get involved. Go back to that high bar we have today, saving lives. Right?
That's right.
You have test strips? Talk to us about test
strips as
strips, how
yeah.
that works.
So the ones I have today, these are fentanyl test strips, right? They test for the presence of fentanyl in pretty much any substance, right? Whether it's a liquid, a powder, or a pill.
Could you do a demo for us, please?
Sure.
Pretend or whatever. Just,
Yeah, I don't have actual.
You didn't bring fentanyl.
No,
good.
but I got.
Good.
We can pretend that this is whatever substance you want, but you want to make sure if it's a powder form already, you want to mix it up very good. You could get like 2 quarters and mix it up very good, as much as you can, because what happens is a lot of times that there's fentanyl in one portion of the either the pill or the bag, and not the other.
You want a correct sample.
So you want to get a correct sample, and usually I would get like a water bottle of this kind and use the cap, right? And you could put the water into the cap. You want to fill it to the top. I don't want to actually make a mess here, but you
We'll
want to
clean it. Don't worry about it.
You want to fill it to the top, right? And then you're going to get a small portion of the powder. And if it is a pill, you want to break it into a powder form and then mix it very thoroughly. I have this special scoop here, but if you don't have a scoop, you're just going to eyeball it and try to get as about 5 milligrams, which is 5 scoops of these. All right. 1. All right. 2. 3. 4. And you're going to put 5 milligrams for every 5 milliliters of water, right? And so once you do that, you're going to put this, and it looks like a COVID test, basically. These are initially used for urine samples, right? And what they found out is that you can use this to test for the presence of fentanyl in substance, right? So it looks like a test strip, like a COVID test, but you're going to dip it in the water for 15 seconds, right, up to the line. Don't pass the line. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do it very quickly, and then you're gonna let it sit for about 2 minutes, right? So we could let that there. 1 line is gonna be positive, 2 lines is gonna be negative, right? It's gonna say on the back of the package. There's a number of different brands. Each one is, they're gonna come out with a lot more brands now, because of the fact that they are available.
Who would these strips be relevant to? Who should have these strips?
Anybody that uses a substance, right? And
Because they're sold
wants to be-
something and they got to see what the heck
and
it is.
if you are buying the drugs, the substance on the street, 99% of the time it's been cut with other things. So you want to test to see if it's going to be safe for you, right? And then make that decision. This has fentanyl. I'm not going to take this. I'm not willing to take that risk, right? And that's really what the goal of the
Back
test.
to the harm reduction.
Harm reduction. We're not telling you not to use or don't use.
No judgment. No blame, no judgment.
If you are going to use, we want you to be safe, and we want you to survive that, right? Because we know that people that pass away, that's it. They don't have a chance of recovery. They don't have a chance.
Tell us about the trainings. Just kind of list the trainings that F Fentanyl is engaged in currently.
Well, before we get to that, real quick, I'll show you. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but it has 2 lines now, right? And so that's negative. We're happy that
so we can drink the sugar water.
The sugar did not have
Call it
fentanyl
lunch
in it,
and, yeah.
right? But that's how fast you're going to be able to check and see what's in there.
So people on the street can
Yeah.
They have bottle caps in the street and
Yeah, I
water
mean,
and
simple bottle of water, use the cap, and then you can test whatever it is. You just want to make sure it's mixed very thoroughly, because like if you see a pill and you think of like a chocolate chip cookie, the chocolate chips are the fentanyl, and the rest of the cookie doesn't have the fentanyl. So there's portions of that pill that if somebody takes that part, they'll die. The other if you pass it the other half to another person, they won't die. So you want to mix it up so you can test it, and then make your decision afterwards.
information is power.
Absolutely.
What else is F Fentanyl engaged in the community?
So we partner with the University of Miami, and we've started doing trainings for the students on a regular basis. We
What
got
kind of training?
overdose prevention training. We have 3 for the semester. Our first one at UM is for this semester is gonna be on Valentine's Day at 12. And then
So if a UM student is watching this, or a professor,
yeah.
back to the scroll, right, and get hold of Tommy. And,
Yeah. And again, if you have an organization, a church, a group, and you want us to do a training for that and provide you with the Narcan, we're happy to do that. That's what we do.
You know, we spoke first about FIU in terms of institutions. I want to give equal credit to the University of Miami. They've really, and Rachel Laskowitz.
They've been amazing.
And the Sandler Center for Harm Reduction. In the last couple of years, they've really stepped up, recognizing that we're not judging whether people use or not. They're going to use. August 31st, you had an overdose.
Yeah. So for last year, we
The
hosted.
mayor was there.
Absolutely,
Did you get a proclamation?
we got a
F
proclamation.
Fentanyl got a proclamation.
Well, it was a proclamation to declare the Overdose Awareness Day.
Okay.
Right, and now it's sitting in the Sandler Center at UM, which is great. They've been such a great supporter, and
Thank you, Rachel.
thank you, Rachel. Definitely shout out to Rachel, because a few years ago that wasn't happening. Right, and now we've done trainings with the students. We've done it with fraternities. They have a program where people can go pick up Narcan or test strips. You know,
So we got
anonymously.
FIU going, and
I would love
and we
FIU to get
and
that
we
going, but
we're working on it, and you got U of M going,
Yeah.
strongly, and there are other people that are watching this that are educators or people involved in other places of learning, high learning, other
Yeah. Miami
other
Dade,
schools.
Nova,
Miami-Dade, Nova. You hear us?
Yeah, we're happy.
Get
happy
hold
to
of
go.
Tommy. We're going to stretch you thin, my friend.
That's good. It's a good thing.
We're about done. We did a lot today. A shout out again to our sponsor, Miami-Dade Behavioral Health Alliance. Thank you. Thank the Alliance. Yeah. Tommy and I will be going to their next lunch. Yeah. If you're interested in going to that or becoming part of the Alliance, I've never seen an organization that has such connections to expand resources. You know, and if you want to get hold of me, if you have questions about the show, or you want to think you'd be an appropriate guest, you know, somebody would be a good guest for the show, that would be email me at miller@miamiconnect.org, miller@miamiconnect.org. A quick shout out to my son Josh in the United States Air Force. Thank you for your service, son. We're real proud of you. And thank you, Tommy, for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Over out. Thank you.